Hi, my name is Dr. George Birnbach, and I want to talk about the times in our day or week or year that we're asked to do many, many different things all at the same time. We end up trying to leverage technology just to keep up with our lives, using our phones and our computers so we can multitask through life. And we start thinking that multitasking is the requirement of today's modern world. Well, this just isn't true. In fact, in the next few minutes, I want to explain how doing less and prioritizing more is the key to all stress-free success. Again, my name is Dr. George Birnbach, and I want to explain just how multitasking is limiting your success. And in fact, it's physically decreasing the size of your brain and your ability to solve problems into the future. So imagine this scenario, because it's played out a dozen times in your life already. Your most important friend, or your partner, or your child, or your date is on the phone or in a restaurant, and you lean back in your chair and your eyes are intent on this conversation. But as that person talks to you, you see an instant message roll across your phone or your computer screen. Some other friends are going to lunch at a nearby restaurant, and they ask if they can pick something up for you. Well, that makes you happy. People are thinking about you, so you type in your order, and while you're thinking about curry, your friend, the one on the phone or the one across the table from you, they kept speaking. But your mind was on planning lunch, even for a moment. And then they ask you a question. Well, do you agree with that? What do you think about that? And you have no idea what your friend is talking about. Your mind has been on Thai food, not the conversation. And it only took a moment of distracted visualization to corrupt your entire attention stream. Think about texting or driving or trying to talk to someone who's reading or any other complex tasks. You see, multitasking doesn't work. In fact, this is a deeply ingrained component of modern culture because people are busier than ever and they work all the time, but they don't often feel a sense of accomplishment. Think about your days. I was busy all day, I didn't get anything done. They turn to multitasking to try to get this accomplishment. It's the de facto response to extreme busyness. And doing several things at once seems like what we should do, but it doesn't work, okay? Our enormous to-do lists aren't getting shorter, they're just getting longer. You see, multitasking originally was a computer term allowing two computers to run parallel systems, doing two things effectively at the same time. But in a person, it doesn't work. Neuroscience, globally conducted research at Harvard and Cornell, and cross-disciplinary studies show that multitasking does not work. Your brain cannot handle two challenging tasks simultaneously. However, most people don't want to give up multitasking. We think we can do it. We're the 1% who can do it. But it's an effort in futility. We have to let that go. In fact, we think multitasking will get us more done, but it just guarantees mistakes. When you multitask, you're giving superficial, simultaneous attention to competing streams of information, and that doesn't work. Multitasking is inefficient. It doesn't mitigate your time management problems. Multitasking always adds time to the job or to the task. It impedes the flow of information into short-term memory, so you can't recall key information later. And that leaves you trying to complete the project or the task, and you get lost because you don't have the information anymore, and now you have to go back and do it all over again. Thus, multitasking makes each task longer than if you would have focused on it exclusively in the first place. And it even goes further than that. And so yes, I'm telling you right now, multitasking is a fantasy. And I know many people swear by it, but it just doesn't happen the way you think it does. The science of neurology proves that multitasking is not possible. Any challenging task involves the brain's prefrontal cortex, okay? Having multiple information streams from two focus demanding tasks competing for the brain, the prefrontal cortex, overworks it and overwhelms the brain in general. MIT's Earl Miller says people cannot focus on two jobs at one time due to interference between the two tasks. The process that people mistakenly refer to as multitasking is actually called task switching, moving rapidly but ineffectively among different things. Task switching happens in 1/10 of a second. And so although multitasking is an illusion, including the benefits you think, it does stir up some real-world and decidedly negative effects. Multitasking, for one, physically shrinks the brain. The prefrontal cortex, your brain, reduces in size because of the mental overload of multitasking. You get less brain matter, results in cognitive impairment and a decreased ability to think and reason clearly. So multitasking today kills your ability to problem solve in the future. It's bad for your brain in other ways too. It increases mood swings, it stops your ability to think clearly, it interferes with the way you control urges. And we see this in Eastern religion too. Buddhists call this monkey mind. It's the unsettled mind, a constantly confused and restless mindset that is a natural byproduct from trying to do this task switching or multitasking. Now, don't confuse attention demanding tasks with mundane activities like washing the dishes and listening to music or making easy repairs and cooking. These automatic low-level functions put very few demands on your attention, and you can engage in those activities while attending to more complex mental tasks, okay? So you're not just a one-trick pony. If it makes sense physically or logistically, you can always do more than one thing at a time as long as it's not brain taxing. For example, listening to music and having a conversation in the kitchen is fine. Texting and driving, not so good. Texting and walking, we see people walk off curbs, into traffic, walk into potholes a lot, right? So there's a flaw in multitasking. Think about the last time you were trying to count change and something distracted you and you can't remember what the count was. Maybe this was due to an interruption or because your mind began to wander. Whatever the cause, your focus disappeared, you become instantly unproductive. Well, if that happens when you're scheduling a marketing event, you can lose the entire relationship you've built up to that point because you'll lose the relationship of trust. If it happens in an office meeting, your staff doesn't trust you. If it happens on the job, people around you think you're just disorganized. You see, Harvard University research indicates that the most productive workers seldom switch focus during the day. The least productive workers switched focus 500 times a day. That's multitasking at its worst. It bespeaks to the essence of distracted, unfocused, and scattered lives. Some experts mistakenly believe that young people who grew up in the age of high tech, the age of now, are completely comfortable with digital devices and are natural multitaskers. But that's wrong. The brains of young people are very similar to the brains of older people. They just have better technical skills. They face the same limitations. No one, young or old, is a natural multitasker. Multitasking is simply not human compatible, okay? Sophisticated computers can do it, people can't. So how does this relate to human relationships? Well, besides helping people become more productive, single tasking can rebuild relationships damaged by modern tendencies to fail to focus. Okay? We fail to focus fully on people around us, we lose the trust. So instead of concentrating on one another, most people, they're looking at their watch, they're looking at their phone. They accept calls during in-person conversations and so on. When single taskers engage with other people, they focus on their companions. And in the process, single taskers take control of their environments, their agendas, their to-do lists, their mental processes. They're in charge of their lives. Distractions no longer reign supreme. So let's talk about how we're going to do this, right? Well, first, begin by reserving time in your life, in your day, just for simple personal reflection, unadorned, clear, helpful thinking. Create a journal or notes to write down your thoughts about things you're involved with. Journaling helps you focus and organize your thinking. So consider this your single tasking practice each and every day. Instead of suffering from distracting monkey mind or monkey brain, which marks multitasking, you can benefit from the wonderful attributes that accompany single tasking. And that means your energy goes up and your well-being and productivity and even your ability to see life with humor goes up. Contentment and fulfillment goes up, and quite honestly, no matter what you do, you're going to enjoy work more. Additionally, single tasking strips away stress, pressure, insecurity, nervousness, boredom, and distraction. So this is how I want you to focus on becoming a single tasker. Single tasking is a habit. You have to take a habitual approach to this, including managing unplanned visitors, shutting off your social media prompts, setting aside daily planning time, and maintaining focus during your meetings by taking notes in real time using real language. Single tasking requires you to focus, which requires energy. So make sure you're taking 10-minute breaks every hour, not to walk around necessarily, but to reflect on your notes. Unplanned thoughts deflect you from single tasking. So you have to have a mental parking lot. Have some place like a safety net for all of your thoughts. And when you're working on an important project, go offline. Get back to papers and pencils. No emails, no electronic notices. Don't let anything in, like ringers or chimes or pings, that are going to strip away your focus. You cannot single task amid constant interruptions. Get the blinders on, clean up your workspace so you don't have a ton of clutter. You'll do better. When you're focusing, let your colleagues know that you're unavailable for interaction. Shut the door, post a note, duct tape the hinges. I don't care what you do. Let them know that you're working. Now, a good thing to do is take similar tasks and set them out like dominoes all together. That's called cluster tasking. Take 2 30-minute periods and do all similar tasks in that time. Okay? Also, be respectful and pay focused attention to other people. That'll allow you to be more active in your listening. Taking notes will allow you to bond better from them. Much easier than if we were trying to multitasking through, okay? I'd rather you focus on a vital few tasks than trivially go after the many. So stop rushing, slow down, and if you have a lot to do, focus on one thing. After you prioritize one thing, and you'll get more done. My name is Dr. George Birnbach. Comment on the video, let us know how you're doing. I'm excited to see this play out in your life.